Hello guys and welcome back to another pastel painting. It's Ginger here and we are working on little small pieces of the UArt 400. So it is a sanded paper, very much like sandpaper, literally, and therefore it has a coarse texture, but not in the way that I like texturing paper. I mean, I like textured paper in all sorts of weird fashions, but this is a very uniform texture, but it is very much like sandpaper. And because of that, it's going to take lots of layers very easily, but that is not what I'm going to be doing. I want to keep this little mini simple. I've been doing a couple of these in the last week because I've been super busy. We're in panto season. I've got the local panto on at the moment, so it's going a bit crazy. So I'm just getting these in between as my fingers get itchy and I want to do something. It doesn't matter what, but I just want to do something. Just put some pastel down on some paper somehow, somewhere. And that's what these little kind of colour studies generally are. They're just practice pieces, but they're also just for play as well, and to have a bit of fun and just relax and put something down. And in this case, they're just little simple landscape studies that basically consist of sky, land, tree line, trees. That's it. Just those four elements to make up something this simple. And realistically, I'm also keeping tone and value as the key for these. So the sky and the grass areas will be the lightest values. Then we'll have a tree line of some sort, either trees, mountains, or a mixture of both, or hedgerows, where that will give us a kind of break line between the sky and the grass, your kind of foreground area, and then the main focal points will be the trees, which I put over the top. So keeping it nice and simple. Now the fun thing with this sort of paper is once the pastel's down, it doesn't move very far. So I can put a little bit down and with my finger try to smooth it out into a bigger area, and it generally won't go. So it's really good grip for pastel. It means it's not really going to get damaged very easily, and it can hold many layers. I don't want to smooth this out anyway. I want to kind of keep this. So this is a gorgeous kind of beige brown, and I'm using this for the horizon line. So this is for some distant mountains, and I'm just kind of shaping these out roughly. I'm not really thinking too much about this. I've got no plans whatsoever. I've just literally gone, right, for these shorts, I'm just gonna do some sky, ground, horizon line, foreground trees at the interest point. Keep it simple and really focus on colour palettes and tone and value. And the colour palette for this one is a little bit more neutral. I want to try and get a bit more neutrals into my colour palettes at the moment, and this is a really gorgeous neutral colour. It's more of a kind of light grey mocha, really. It's got beautiful brown tones in it, but it also has a little bit of gold and a little bit of orange in it. But obviously it's also got grey in it, so it kind of brings that vibrancy down to a more neutral level, and it is such a gorgeous bay colour. I like this colour too. This is more of a kind of grey turquoise, so it's another, not fully neutral, but it is a more neutral colour when you put it against all the other kind of greens. So you go your blue greens like your pine greens, or your yellow greens like your moss greens, and this is none. This is more like a neutral teal, somewhere in between everything. But it makes a really great distant tree line because you want that kind of slightly blue tone to indicate that it's in the distance. And then we've got our wonderful foreground. And I'm trying to keep the spacing on this paper fairly relevant. So, quite a large chunk of it is sky. So about 2/3 of it is the top half of the landscape, with about 1/3 of it being the bottom half. And I swapped that up. I've been doing a couple of these little minis, and I've been kind of swapping it round, making the sky bigger and the land smaller, and the land bigger and the sky smaller, just to kind of play. It's like I'm taking the three base elements, so value, so light to dark, tone, so neutral to saturated, and then space, so looking at negative space, compact space, space sharing, blurring of boundaries, and just kind of segmenting the painting into, I'm going to allocate this much of the page to sky, I'm going to allocate this much to ground, I'm going to allocate this much to the horizon line. Just playing with those elements, I can create painting after painting after painting, and every single one of them will be different. So I'm loving this colour. I've also managed to get a dark smudge in this because I had a darker colour on my fingertips and then got that into the grassy area by accident. And because this pastel won't really move anywhere on this paper, I can't even kind of blend it out. So I'm just going to have to go over that later with another colour. Now, this is a mid-tone colour, and like I said, I was looking to keep the sky and the grass foreground relatively low in value, so lighter in colour. So I'm going to lighten this up, and I'm going to use horizontal marks. So I'm pulling down from the horizon line, and that's just to kind of give it the look of grass. Grass is very vertical. Well, it doesn't grow sideways in most cases, but it is very vertical. So I'm trying to just give the grassy area some texture, allowing the darker gold colour to kind of come through, but at the same time lightening that area in value and giving us some directional shaping as well. So grasses go up and down. So it's looking all right at the moment. It's always hard to tell with these because this is 4 inch by 4 inch, so it's not massive. There we go. I'm slowly layering over the top of that dark patch that I created. And the more you kind of layer, the more, I'm not going to say textural, but certainly the more layers for colours you'll get more colour differences in that foreground. Right, this is a relatively dark green. And this is me just starting to bring that kind of line of interest and foreground in. So we've got the distant tree line, and now we've got another slightly more forward tree line in front of that as well. And that just gives us some shaping to that and some texture. And this is a warm colour. If you compare this to the kind of neutral teal that's down, this is a much warmer colour. Now I need to get this tree in. Yeah, here will do. Like I said, I'm not worried about colour mixing and getting muddy on this paper because it will take a lot before it actually does that. But just shaping in a pair of trees here on this side, just keeping it simple. I like to say that there's loads of dust on this, but actually the dust is kept to a relatively good minimum with this paper. I think the softer the pastel, though, the more dust you will get with the heavier sanded papers. So now we're going to go in and just add some highlighting to these trees, and we're keeping it with that neutral turquoise, just so that we're keeping this to a limited palette. There's no more than 5 colours in this, so I'm not looking to spend ages doing a painting or spend loads of time thinking about what I'm doing. I'm literally just getting in there and going, right, I'm going to paint 2/3 sky, 1/5 ground, distant mountains, tree line, and then these trees. Kind of I took away too much of this light colour, and I really want to bring some of that back in. A bit more than that though. I also need to put shadows on these trees as well. Yeah, we'll do these shadows down. I think I've put too much on there, so let's change that. The advantage of using this paper for these is I can just layer over the top and it will just magically disappear. Like that. And there we go. So, hopefully you guys have had fun watching this one. I definitely recommend just giving it a go. Have fun, use my rules for creating little minis. Just something fun, mess around with the proportions for sky and everything else, and play with your colour palettes. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, ta-ta for now, and I will see you all soon.